Surprise, surprise, out of nowhere, we've got a new Cruiserweight champion. I thought that, honestly, the storyline of Brian Kendrick telling TJ Perkins that he needed to let him win at Hell in a Cell was a little bit out of the middle of nowhere, but it is the story that they wanted to go with. It seemed like the Monday night before a pay-per-view would be a weird time to sort of set this storyline, but it sort of does play into the whole TJ Perkins storyline of this is a guy who slept in his car, that was homeless. Brian Kendrick was a guy that mentored him to make sure that he achieved his dream of becoming a professional wrestler. They said that Brian Kendrick would pick him up from school and drive him to wrestling camp and make sure he'd get where he needed to be. And now here we are years later. Brian Kendrick, holding on to his last shot to be part of WWE, needed this Cruiserweight title for his family to be a part of WWE and for him to still have this part of the glory of WWE being there. Of course, this is the same storyline that went along with the Cruiserweight Classic with Brian Kendrick losing his match, and then Daniel Bryan leaving the announce booth, coming down to the ring, and embracing him because his friend had lost what was laid out to be his last match. But now here Brian Kendrick sits atop of the Cruiserweight division. Earlier on the pre-show, we had a 6-man match with Cedric Alexander, Tony Nese, Sin Cara, and a band full of other guys who I honestly don't know their names because I haven't learned them yet. But Brian Kendrick went for an early pinfall early in the match to see if TJ Perkins was going to let him get the victory, and he did not. And from there, Brian Kendrick went to go do sliced bread number 2 over in the corner, and from there, it looked like Brian Kendrick had injured himself. You could really tell if you've been watching wrestling for a long time that it was not a real injury, that they were trying to play into your emotions, because if there was a real injury and they were going to check on Brian Kendrick, definitely you would have at least seen a medic hit the ring, or they just would have called for the match just to be over. But they ended up not doing that. The referee just checked on Brian Kendrick. Brian Kendrick kept on saying that he was ready to go. TJ Perkins came over to help Kendrick get up. And from there, we had, Kendrick hit a headbutt and then down on the floor hit the captain's hook. TJ Perkins tapped out, new Cruiserweight champion. From here, I'm hoping that Cedric Alexander is the next person to step up and get a title match. I'm guessing that TJ Perkins will get a rematch, but Rich Swann seems to be somebody who's really coming on and sort of jumping into WWE light. He really stole the pre-show, coming out and doing commentary for the Cruiserweight match. So we'll see what direction they go from here. There's got a lot of new guys, a lot of new characters. I thought that TJ Perkins was going to be the guy to sort of have this division built around him, and for on his second pay-per-view with the championship to be stripped of it. We'll have to see. Maybe they're going in a different direction.